in my early to mid-teens, I consumed the newspapers as if my life depended on it. And invariably, that also helped me in the classroom. Those days, there used to be what it was called SET, which is Spectator, Mirror, Daily Graphic, and Times.
You sound so old.
Yes, I am old.
You're only 50. Which is like the new 30.
That's half a century. It's not a child's play.
You just said 50, really? All right.
That's not a child's play. Being in Nkrumah, Ghana, 40, 50. It's not a child's play. When you had to buy raw kinky before it is cooked. 81. All right.
It is said over and over and over and over again that your network is your net worth. And we at Leader Freak has experienced this in multiple ways, where for our first camp, for example, we had to get our friends and family who sent their children to our camp. And since then, we're moving on to our very 10th camp. So the network that you keep is so important. And in keeping networks, you have to be mindful of the fact that you give as well as you take. You don't just give and you don't just take. So pay attention to the dynamics of how you cultivate a social network. We will look at that as well. Ask Michael who his top 5 are and see what he shares with us, as it has been proposed that you are the sum total of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. Hop on the support system to talk about social network, because it's said over and over and over again that your network is your net worth. And it sounds to me that that's also where the accountability comes in, and that's also where it matters the most. So where it is that you form these network from your childhood, where you've been able to grow and cultivate some of these friendships into almost family, and keeping each other accountable becomes important. So let's talk a little bit about your social network and how that has influenced. And in fact, is it true that a social network equals your social net worth?
It's very, very true. Years ago, in the 90s, I learned that you are only 4 people away from anybody anywhere in the world. Only 4 people away. And I think I took it, so I used to be a great networker. I used to have time for friendships, social gatherings, and just being with friends. And I think it helped me a lot. I only stopped because of my previous job. It was a bit demanding and it was also sensitive. And so I've kind of gone down. Today, if you ask me, I think that might probably be the area I'll score myself the lowest, because the demands of Leader Freak, being running Leader Freak, consulting as a development consultant, and then speaking and yeah, basically speaking and running conferences and workshops on the weekends and on Sundays, have made me a little bit of a reclusive figure. And so I'm not networking as much as I know I ought to. And every year I recycle that goal that I'm going to be deliberate with my networking, and yet I am not able to do it because of the heavy schedule that we run. But you are very, very right. Your network is truly your network, because ultimately when it comes to life, it's not about the balance in your bank account. It's about the relationship that you have. When you have a funeral, it is not money that will sit with you. It is friends and family that will take you through that period of your life.
As well as the memories.
That's right.
But speaking of, I think there are different ways to look at this, because as you were speaking, I was thinking about your network still. You just have a different kind of network that you formed. Yeah. So even though we're talking about social networks, you have a certain social network that currently has become your work network as well. Yeah. So this is not social where you're just sitting and drinking and chatting, but it's a network that also develops into business, that also develops into different aspects of who you are and what you do today, and that carries on for the other people that you're working with as well. Because I was just thinking about your relationship with Emmy, and I was just thinking there's a friendship, but there's also a business aspect to the relationship, in which case you can segment them. So you don't necessarily, somebody doesn't have to be just your friend. They can be a business associate who becomes a very good friend and therefore forms a part of that social network.
Oh, you are right. And I've been very deliberate in cultivating relationships. As you know, in December, I spent a week in Nairobi working for the African Union. And I was amazed when I looked around that we were from 10 African countries in one room. And so I deliberately connected with people from 9 African countries. And today, if you want to go to any country, all we need to do is just get on WhatsApp or get on the phone and say, hey, I'm coming, can you get me at the airport? So you are right, being deliberate about it. And that's why we use the word cultivate. Yeah. Cultivation is a deliberate process. You don't just throw seed on the ground, go and come back and pluck. You cultivate it by watering it, by pruning it, by making sure that the ground is good for it. And that's how you do with friendships and networks as well. Sometimes all people want is every week just checking in on them and also being supportive of their own. Some people only come to you when they need you. So anytime they come and say, oh, Charlie, I haven't heard from you in a long while, there's a request coming after that. As soon as you sort them out, they are gone for the next 2 years. So just being helpful. Sometimes it just means listening to somebody's story at night because they had a horrible day and they just want to talk to you. Just doing that for people makes you a valuable person to them. So we all need to do that, and I will seek to do that in the year 2024.
Let me put you on the spot.
Yes.
It said that you are the sum of the 5 people closest to you.
Yeah.
Who are your 5?
It won't be fair if I say this here because everybody will say, okay, I'm not part of your 5. That's okay, don't call me again. Put you on the spot. Don't call me. You want to bring fights in my kingdom. So I refuse to answer this question. Please, everybody is my friend. You are all inside the 5.
No, there's got to be a 5. But you can answer it differently. So if, let's do it differently.
Yes.
If there are 5 people that you wake up in the morning, you want to give to 5 people, who will they be?
Give what?
It could be given mentorship, it could be given advice, not necessarily money, but you want to bless somebody. It could be in any form. Who would the 5 be?
Now, I structure my life a bit differently. So, and you notice that professionally I serve as a mentor on about 3 programs. So yes, there are those mentees who look up to me and we engage and I support them on their professional growth. So yes, there will be those people that I would want to give to. Principally advice. And they looking at my example. And me, I tell them all the time, don't be like me, be more than me. So there will be that subset. And not just that, but anytime I run either a governance development program, a political development program, I get people who come in and say, I just want you to mentor me. And so there are those who are not even formal mentees, but every now and then they will send me an email and say, Uncle Mike, what do you think of that? So there's that group that I might give to. Then I also have my own mentors that I look up to. Now, for my own mentors, what do? I give them service. So there's also that group, that people I also look up to. Now, I can't give them advice, but I can give them service. So I would give service to that group. And this includes my uncles, my fathers, my mentors, who some have mentored me for the last 30 years. And so I would also give to them. Then there are my peers. My peers, I will break them into 2. There are professional peers and personal peers. And then there are those who transcend the 2. So for them, I would give and take. I would give advice, I also take advice. And then I also have like Nana Kofi. and his friends, who I also father. And I have a number of nephews and nieces that I give. I give advice. I give a sense of direction. And I give a sense of purpose. So I give different things to different classes of people.
That's how I wanted us to answer that, because then at least people must, if you can mention 5, people must at least oh, it was. That's why.
I refuse to fall into traps. And lead me not into temptation, for I shall find it myself.
I shall soon tempt you.